So when I talk about listings and a listing presentation, it can have a lot of different names. A listing presentation, a marketing presentation, but at the end of the day, I call it a listing conversation versus a listing consultation. So a lot of people have these consultations where they come out and they'll give somebody everything that they need to know. Like, I'm the best real estate agent because I sell the most homes in the neighborhood. I'm a neighborhood specialist. I sell for 95% of list price. All of that bullshit, that is about you and has nothing to do with the client. If you want to win more listing presentations, you need to have better relationships. The better your relationships, the more listing presentations that you win. As you can see, that guy on the side, nobody wants to be that guy on the side. Here, sign right here. Do you like what I do? Do you like what I'm going to do to sell your home? Sign right here. Whereas the person on the right is much more happy. Obviously, they're having fun. You don't even know which one's the real estate agent. So a nice conversation, and Renee can tell you at the end about her conversation with the last client that we went out and did this with. So knowing your numbers is going to be super important. This is just an example of the numbers that you might have. 90% of the appointments won't cancel. So you might get that one person that'll cancel. Maybe you have a 30% cancel rate or a 40% cancel rate, and then you can do things to adjust that. But you want to know these numbers because this is going to add up to what percentage of listing appointments you actually win and become transactions. So this is an example. So 90%. 65% of the time you win the listing appointment. This might be 50-50, it might be 65-35. And then does your listing sell? So 95% of the time the listing sells. That means for every listing appointment with these numbers that you go on, you're going to close 55% of those people. So 55% of the listing appointments you go on, you close, which is a very good rate. So these numbers might be skewed a little bit, but that's a very good rate if you're getting 55%. So what's the cheat code? What's the secret sauce to make sure that you win every single time? And like, there's a lot of realtors out there that just want that perfect script that's going to trick the person into listing with you, or that perfect script that somebody's going to, fall in love with you. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with knowing your client inside and out. So this is the secret sauce right here. And these are the questions that you're going to ask prior to going on that listing appointment. Or then you throw some of them in the listing appointment. But if you know the answer to all these questions, your client's going to feel like they've known you forever. And you have the cheat code of how they want to be represented throughout the transaction. So what's one characteristic that you look for in a realtor, Sarah? Tell me one characteristic you look for in a realtor, right? They might not know the answer to that. They might not know the answer to a lot of these questions. What does really great service look like? What does really great service look like to you? Once they tell you that, you just do exactly what they're looking for. What are your expectations of a real estate agent that you hire? Everybody has expectations, whether they're verbalized or non-verbalized. In any relationship, expectations that are not verbalized end up in disappointment, because otherwise it's just luck. So what are your expectations of me? If your expectations of me are contact every single day, I'm not contacting you every single day. So this is going to lead to disappointment. So you need to handle that up front. You need to go with boundaries on that. What does incredible marketing look like to you? People don't know the answer to this one. Or incredible marketing to them isn't that incredible. And they say, oh, you just put it up on Marketplace, put it up on Kijiji, whatever it is. And this is an important one. Somebody is going to tell you the answer to this one. Sarah, what's a 10 out of 10 communication look like to you? What's 10 out of 10 communication look like? They're going to tell you because that's how they want to be communicated with. And what do you want to use for communication? Email, phone, text, right? Everybody's going to be different. Here's a big one. What would really frustrate you as this relationship goes on? What would really frustrate you? So they'll tell you because they've had past experiences, and then you move on to past experiences. What have been some of the past experiences that you've experienced with a real estate agent? And if they haven't had experiences with a real estate agent, then Maybe you talk about a service or a sales-based industry. What have been your previous experiences? And the reason I want to know this is so I can amplify the positives and minimize the negatives so that everybody has a great experience. What are your expectations for receiving feedback? Because I think this one is where a lot of my clients get disappointed. They expect feedback on every single listing, and the average right now is about 30%, 35%. So if you're telling them you're only get feedback on about 1 out of every 3 times, even though you show them, like we send out every day for 10 days, feedback requests. And I'll show my clients, like, look, the realtor ignored it. I was like, look, I called them, and they ignored this. So we've tried to contact them 18 times, and they can't even send some feedback of the house. That takes all of the burden off of you and onto the other real estate agent. This is a big question that I like to ask people because it kind of throws them off guard. And I like to ask questions in different ways because it makes them think, and they don't just give you like one-off answers. How long do you think your home is going to sit on the market, Sarah? The way that I say that, like, is priming her for later on in the conversation when we're talking about price. And I'm going to use those same words, sit on the market. So how long do you think your house is going to sit on the market, Sarah? And then this is going to be one that I use throughout the listing on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being meek and 10 being brutally honest. How honest do you want me to be with you? That's a question I ask them. And then when we come like 2 weeks, a month in, and we're talking about the price, I say, listen, remember when I asked you how honest you want me to be with you? Well, you said 10. I have to be honest with you. The house isn't going to sell for $460. There's a 0% chance it sells for $460 no matter what kind of marketing we do. Then like they'll appreciate it because it's like you're holding them up and saying, remember when you asked me to be honest, I'm going to be honest with you. So those are the cheat codes, and I write these down on my notepad. I have it printed out, and I'll go back to them in a listing presentation or on the phone just to kind of, remind myself, did I ask this question? Do I know the answer? And I always write down the answer with as much detail as possible. So we haven't even started the listing presentation because the listing presentation isn't that important. What you do prior to the listing presentation is much more important than what you do in the actual presentation. Renee, for example, did a ton of work before we got there. And then when she was there, it was a lot of relationship building because that's what's more important in the whole transaction. So this is all prior to the appointment. Where are you moving to? Hey, Sarah, where are you moving to? Okay, great. Tell me more about that. And you can like dig deep on where they're going. This isn't because you want to know, do they have a house to sell? Do they have a house to buy? You don't want to know if it's 2 transactions. You want to know what's going on in their life. You want to know what's motivating them and inspiring them. So where are you moving to? Tell me more about that. This is always one that gets people in the pricing category. So right now, again, I'm priming her for the pricing. Describe your home 10 out of 10 for me. Okay? Because I haven't seen the home yet. So you describe it 10 out of 10. And it could be the neighborhood, it could be the yard, it could be anything about the home. Describe your home 10 out of 10 for me. And then what would make it a 10 in buyer's eyes? And then she'll describe everything. And we're going to go back to this when we're pricing the home and we're looking at comps to be like, how would you describe this home out of 10? What would make this home out of a 10 out of 10 for you? And then you can kind of gauge everything apples to apples, right? So you're using scales, you're using numbers so that people understand better. Okay, Sarah, so obviously you know our team, you know service is paramount for our team. Let me ask you a question. What are your expectations of the real estate agent that you hire? What are your expectations? This is going to be huge. This is before we get there, so that we know what their expectations are going to be. Because if their expectations are going to be, you sell my house fast, or maybe you do it with the least amount of hassles, they don't care about the price, or maybe it's the highest price, we want to know those expectations up front. And then back to the listing price, what do you want to get for your home? Not like, this is a loaded question. What do you want for your home? Of course I want $1 million. Everyone wants $1 million. I went to see this investor. I said, what do you want for this house? He's like, $1 million. And then I say, no, but what are you hoping to get for it? So that's the big one. It has to follow up with what are you hoping to get for it? Okay, that's great. 400,000. You're hoping to get 400,000. That's great. What would be the price that you won't go below? Right? What would be the price that you won't go below? Now you say, oh, I won't go below 375. Okay, understandable. If we brought you a cash offer tomorrow for 360, what would you do? No, I wouldn't take it. I told you 375. Perfect. Now you know their rock bottom is 375 and they wouldn't do 460. So now at least you have a basis when you get out there and a basis when you're looking at comps, because I haven't even looked at the comps yet, right? So I don't even know if they're even in the ballpark. Okay, and this is where I failed my first so many years in real estate, because I didn't ask this question and because I was scared about the answer. And I say, if what I say makes sense, or if you're happy with our marketing, like if you're comfortable and confident that we're the ones to sell your home, if you think we're going to sell it for the highest amount of price and least amount of hassles, whatever she told you she's looking for, are you planning to list your home when I come out on Thursday? If the answer is anything but yes, you've got to handle those objections, right? So that's what we want. We want to get a yes on this. Okay, perfect. That's amazing. I'm going to send you a quick market update and a seller's package. If you could please review it by Friday. And I'm going to send them a cloud CMA as well, so they kind of get the sold, but no price on it. So they know what's going on. Okay, just so you know, our meeting should only take between 15 and 30 minutes. Is that okay with you? Perfect. Okay, I look forward to meeting you on Thursday at 6:30. Right? So this is going to seem like a huge undertaking, right? This is a lot of work before we even get there, but I would say 50% of the work is done before we get there, from them coming in and being nurtured in the system to the qualification and the building the relationship. Renee does an amazing job building relationships with people without ever meeting them face to face. And so that's going to be the most important part, in my opinion. Some people are great salespeople where they go in there and they can convince you to sell your home for the lowest amount of price and really jam it down your throat. But that's not my take. I would rather build a relationship and a trust-based relationship with the client over being a really good salesperson and convincing them to sell their house for less than it is. Oh, part one of the listing presentation. We are now going to the house. We're on our way to the house. We're going in. We're doing the listing presentation. But it's actually, what is it called again? Conversation, right? So we're having a conversation, so we're just going to talk to them, which is exactly what Renee did on Thursday. So building the relationship and learning about them is the key. The key to this listing presentation is not to show how great you are. 2 tips that really, when I've asked people about their experience in the past, or I've asked them did they trust someone? Did they like someone? They got the wrong feeling. 2 things that people have told me over anything else is looking them in the eyes and smiling. Somebody that looks like this, if you're like this, you'll be like, yeah, so our listing presentation is really great, and we're going to get 95% of list price, and you know, we're going to do a really good job. I'm committed to selling your house. It's like, it doesn't resonate with people. If you're like, I'm really excited for this opportunity. I want to be there to help you, support you through the way. This is really great. I love the house. I love everything about this. I'm going to get to work and I'm going to make sure that I sell your home as quickly as possible, right? Eye contact is key. Obviously, you guys are there. You don't get the eye contact. I'm looking into the camera, but eye contact is going to be key. And then smiling. I've been told I can have a resting bitch face. So it's like me smiling is something I think about all the time. It's like smile, because I can, when I get in my thoughts and I'm thinking, especially if I'm looking at different things in the house, I can look angry. So trying to be smiling as much as possible. This listing presentation is about the lead. It has absolutely nothing to do with you. Unless they start asking you about all your qualifications and what you're going to do, just avoid it completely, because we're not feature dumping. I've had agents tell me, like, they go in and they're like, oh, I do 3DR tours, drone footage, it goes on social media, it goes on MLS. See, all the realtors on our MLS board see it. It's like everybody does that. You're just saying the exact same thing. So when you're going to go up against 3, 4, or 5 other agents, like with these really good listings, you're going to want to come with something different. They're all saying that. And I even throw the other agents under the bus. I throw them under the bus, and I I'll say, look, I know you're interviewing other agents, and the other agents are going to feature dump on you and tell you all the stuff that they do to sell your house. They put it on MLS, they advertise it, it's on Marketplace, they're big on social media, they have a huge database. But I'm not interested in that. Everybody does that. I think we excel in those areas above everybody else. But what I want to know right now is about you and where you want to be moved to, so that we're helping you. This isn't about us. And I'll just throw them right under the bus for that. This has nothing to do with you. This is about their motivation and inspiration. Now, those two words are kind of weird, but that's what it's about. What are they motivated by? What are they looking towards? What are they inspired by? This is a good quote. I put this one in here. Get closer than ever to your customers, so close that you can tell them what they need before they realize it themselves. That is what Steve Jobs' idea was of the entire Apple product line, is that he knows his customers inside and out. He's making Apple watches. Did you think people were asking him to make a watch? No. He knows his customers so well that he knows that that's what they want. That's what they would buy. So why do we lose all of these listing presentations? Because you get out relationshiped by other agents. They develop more rapport. We talk about rapport, but it's not really about rapport. Like, rapport is the guy crosses his arms, you cross his arms. The guy likes NASCAR, you like NASCAR. This is more about understanding the client inside and out, understanding what they need. And when a client thinks that you know them, they're going to be happy and confident that you're the one to help them. So this is going to be a huge one. We all know a real estate agent that transactionalizes someone, puts a dollar sign on their forehead every time they get a person. They don't care about the person, right? In our other meeting, I was like, how do you care? Do you care about your clients? How do they know that you care, right? If they think that this is a transaction for you, they're way more likely to ghost. If they just think it's a paycheck, they're way more likely to leave you a bad review or not, or find another agent altogether. So most agents talk about why they're so great. I sold 75 homes last year. Amazing. Do you think the person cares? Most agents take control of the situation and tell the person what they need to do, right? And then most agents use sales techniques and scripts, right? And the typical sales scripts, and it just doesn't work. Like, it can work with certain people, but if you're looking for long term, if you're looking to win more presentations than you're not, then you need to do it differently. Another key besides eye contact and smiling is, are you taking notes? So are you taking notes about the house, about the person, or whatever? People who are interested, so if you're interested, you're interesting to them. So if I look over here on the screen and you guys are taking notes, I'm going to be, wow, they're excited about what I'm talking about. If you guys aren't taking notes, if you're just sitting there or looking at a phone or doing something else, it's like you're not interested in my presentation. So that means that you're not interested in the person's house. You're not taking notes. You're not even paying attention. You're just thinking about the next appointment or what you're going to do tonight and go out and get drunk. Like, that's what the people think. So make sure that you're taking notes, because it shows that you're interested, and tell them you love the house. I love this, the crown molding. That's amazing crown molding. Look at this yard. People, if you love the house, people are more confident that you could sell that love to somebody else. And something that I always like to do when I go to the house with a client is show me around your house. Show me around your house, but I want you to show me around your house as if I'm a buyer. Tell me all the things you love, because the stuff that you love about your house, other people are probably going to love as well. So take me around the house so that I know the features that I can highlight not only in the listing description, but when I'm showing your house. And then as they're saying that, if they say there's something about their house they love, you write that down for sure. And the bonus at the bottom, have your cheat codes open again. So you can have the notes that you're writing, but on the side, your cheat codes, questions you want to ask, things that you want to know. And it's a script. And when you have your book open and you're doing that, they're not going to think that you're reading off of a script, right? Here's your cheat codes again. Incredible marketing, communication, frustration, past experiences, feedback, all the emotions that come along with selling a house. So part 2, so we've got that, we figured it out. Now we're on to part 2. It's about their dreams. What are they running towards? What are they running from? And this might sound kind of funny, but what are they running towards? Running towards might be a bigger house. Running towards might be closer to a French immersion school. Running towards might be like more fancy or more bedrooms or their families moving in. So that's what they're running towards. And how fast they're running versus walking is the motivation. So what are their dreams? What are they? People don't buy homes to buy a home. They don't buy the wood and the drywall and the flooring. They buy homes for the experiences that come with the home. Like we talked about in our meeting the other day, they don't buy a 10-foot island. They buy a 10-foot island because that's where everybody sits on Christmas Day, or that's where everybody dishes up their food, or that's where you have friends over for wine night. So what are their dreams? That is their dreams. A dream is just something that you can see happening in the future. So remember that. So how are they going to experience this home? And what are they running from? They might not be running from something, but they want to avoid it. So whether it's they just had a new baby and they only have 2 bedrooms or 3 bedrooms and they need to move up to another house. Maybe they don't like the neighborhood, their car gets broken into. What are they running from? So what are they avoiding? So the Ford principle is going to win you more listings, more buyer connections, everything like that. Ford, family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. There's always going to be 2 points in which you can pull back to the house. So family, for example, it could be the bedrooms or the experience with the family. Occupation, they need to move closer to work. Recreation, kid plays soccer or hockey or wants to be in the catchment for a certain hockey team. Well, that's recreation. And then dreams, they want a dream backyard, a pool, lots of trees, mature neighborhood. So find 2 connection points so that you know where you're going with that. And then don't forget what's going to stress people out. Uncertainty and interruption. The listing presentation that Renee and I went on last week, uncertainty is huge for her, and interruption into her lifestyle and the daunting tasks of everything are huge. But it is with everybody. And even just saying this right out to your client and say, look, I know this can be very uncertain and you don't really know what's going on. This is why we've created a seller's guide so that you know exactly what the steps are. So you use these things. You know they're in their head. You know that uncertainty is in their head, right? So interruption. I know this is going to be a big interruption to you. At the listing presentation, I wasn't telling her how much I was going to sell her house for. I was telling her, how can we be of service to you? What do you need help with? What seems daunting? What kind of help can we provide to you as your real estate professionals? So part 3, this is pulling it all together, rephrasing all of that information that you've collected. So sounds like this is a very daunting task. Sounds like you're scared to move on and declutter and everything, but I understand that this house is too big for you and that it's a lot to heat. It's just too much for one person. So you want to be moved into a condo, right? Does that sound right? Okay, whatever they've told you, you bring it all back down together. I understand that this house will go for about $350 and you want to keep your budget, if you get $350, around that $200 mark. So is that what we're looking for? Does that sound about right? And you're just going back and rephrasing everything that they've already said so that they know that you understand them. Okay, this is going to be a surprise for all of you guys. What are sellers looking for? They surveyed. There was a study done. The highest performing and award-winning real estate agent, the most amount of money, the least amount of time, or treated them like they're their only client with extraordinary service, right? Out of the sellers surveyed, you would probably think it's either going to be number 1 or number 2. Now, obviously, number 2 is because you're the highest performing and award winning, you're probably going to be number 2. But what they said, 80% of people surveyed chose number 3, right? Now, is that not extremely surprising? Because, you know, when you talk to most people, it's like, no, I want the most amount of money in the least amount of time. No, people actually want to be treated with extraordinary service. There's a reason that people go to work for companies that have a better experience at the companies, because it's about the experience, not about the pay. Okay? So now that you're going to go for the close, right? Right before you want to do this, you want to make sure before you do the pricing that you go for the close. And if you paid attention, this is something that I do, but I'm a little more perceptive than most people. The whole time when somebody speaks about their home, speaks about their experience, speaks about other people, they will say one of three things: sounds, feels, looks. So that's the kind of person that they are. So if somebody says, if somebody's explaining something and they explain it as they hear it, that's an auditory person. If somebody's explaining how it feels, right, or how it looks, so you want to pick that up. So when they say sounds, looks, feels, write that down on your paper, because this is what you're going to use for the close. It sounds like you're confident that we can do and all the information that they want to move. Sell this house and have the least amount of hassles for you. Or if they said that they want the highest amount of price, sounds like you're confident that we could get the highest price for you with our marketing plan, right? And if they're not a sound people, maybe it feels like you're confident that we could get the highest amount of price for you, right? So any of these closes are good. It feels like you're ready to move forward. It sounds like you're ready to move forward. It looks like you're ready to move forward. Whichever one you want to put in there, but try to match it up to the person. Sometimes you can't pick that up and just pick a random one, but this is the close. It feels like you're ready to move forward right now. Whoa, 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 no, we didn't talk about the price yet. And then I would always go back to, okay, if you get the price you want for your home and you're happy with that price, is there anything else that you're hesitant about? No? Okay, great. So right after this, we're going to talk about the price. I just want to make sure that you're confident moving forward with us as a team or me as a real estate agent, right? It looks like you're ready to get started. That's another close, right? You're ready to get started, ready to go. Let's get them to agree to work with us first. Okay, if they're ready to move on to pricing, if they're ready, if they've picked you, if they want to use you, move on to pricing. If they're still unsure, handle that objection. Is there anything holding you back before we move forward, right? If it's the objection, the price, I would say, like if price is your only problem, let's handle that in a second. But like, I want to make sure that you think that we're the right people for you to move forward with, because the price is not determined by us. The price is determined by the market. I'm going to show you that in a second. So is there anything else that you're hesitant about our team, our marketing, anything like that? Get them to agree that you're the right person first, then you can move into pricing. Pricing the home, who determines the price? So it's funny because everybody might think that we determine the price or the sellers determine the price. We have no input in it whatsoever. We will put out the price. We will literally give our interpretation of the price, and so will the sellers based on what they paid for it and what they see in the neighborhood. But the market determines the price. So ultimately, the price of a home is what the seller is willing to sell for and the buyer is willing to accept. That's it. That's how the market works in real estate. So who determines the marketing? So Sarah, who do you think determines the marketing of the home? Who do you think determines the exposure of the home? Well, of course, that's you. That's your job. Right. Sarah, who do you think determines the condition of the home? Well, that would be me. So the condition, how it's presented, the smell, everything like that, right? Okay, Sarah, who do you think determines the price? And she's going to say, well, that's what you and I do. I say, we're going to interpret the price. Right, we're going to look at comps and we're going to interpret what those comps say and come up with a price. But ultimately, the buyers in the market determine the price. So if all of your neighbors sell for $400,000, they have made the determination that the homes in that neighborhood are worth $400,000, regardless of if you paid $500,000, right? So it's like the market is what sellers are willing to sell for and what buyers are willing to pay for stuff. So it's a supply and demand, and that's how it works. We don't determine anything. We try to put our best foot forward in marketing or in pricing so that we get shown the most amount of times. It's going to be exposure, it's going to be condition, it's going to be price. Those three things are going to determine how quickly your home sells and how much it sells for. So when you bring comps, everybody wants to bring all these comps. You want to come up with a price that you feel that the home is worth, and then you want to bring 3 current listings that support your price, 3 expired listings that support your price and 3 sold listings that support your price. That's all. You just want to show them. You don't need to go through 100 listings, and if they're like adding and subtracting, this is what appraisers do. They take 3 or 4 properties and they use those to determine the price. Okay? So that's it. So that's all you need to do. You come up with the price, handle the objection. Now, I like to do a hardcore marketing, and we could do a whole hour on this marketing side, but when I come in and do a listing presentation, this could either be on the listing presentation or a marketing presentation. So I will come up with a marketing strategy for your house. Maybe you do it on the second time, or maybe you do it right there. This is our marketing strategy. So this breaks down everything that we've done. I'm not telling you this is what I'm going to do for your house. I'm showing real life experiences of what's happened based on other properties that we have marketed. So people don't believe what you tell them. People believe what they experience. This is an experience that somebody had. 123 Apple Street, 4 days on the market. One offer presented with another realtor, 14 team showings. This shows them that our team showed it a whole bunch of times. So there is great value in our team. So that came from coming soon as and lead generation. This is what happened. 3 realtor showings with buyers, right? You want to downplay the buyers, the other realtors in the market, because that's what people think it's all about nowadays, is other realtors in the market. And a lot of realtors are just going to sit there and put it on MLS and hope and pray. So we had 3 realtor showings, but look, we had 14 team showings. That's a significant difference, right? This is what happens when you hire us. You get all of these. Total hits on MLS was 103. In 4 days on the market, 103 times it got emailed out to somebody on MLS, right? This is what we do. This is our Facebook ad alone. 95 leads. The reach was 18,000 and impressions was 38,000. That's like two impressions each for a cost of $5.95 a lead. And we spent $565 in 4 days to get 38,000 impressions. You got 103 with a normal realtor on realtor.ca. We got 38,000. Kijijis, average 20 per day. Marketplace, 2,100 reviews or views. Google PPC, viewed on the Matt Ferguson website 75 times, 1 contact per showing. Viewed on Move Faster, 142 page views. Open house strategy. We did the open house strategy. 3 out of 50 people, we handed out 50 flyers in the neighborhood. 3 of those people showed up for a viewing, right? Teleprospecting, 28 people contacted with a personal invitation to the open house or to come see the house. This is what we do. With a normal realtor, you get 103 people who may or may not like the property. This is everything that we do. This is our full marketing plan. And it goes throughout online and everywhere. This is just the basis of what we've done. And then you show them what happened. Okay, 1 offer presented, 3 offers presented, 6 offers presented for $10,000 above asking price. And then I'll always tell them, because this is another way to downplay other realtors, I said, in the last 3 years, everything was going above asking or close to asking. We averaged 7% above the MLS average every single year. So it's like the MLS average is 89%. We were averaging 96%. Take all the last 3 years out of the equation, and like our advertising went that far back and still was successful, right? So this is always at the end. This is, unless they ask me to show them what I do to market the home, this is always at the end. Okay? So that's it.